YouTube, what is good? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, man. I am in the process of running a load from San Angelo, Texas up to Iowa, man. It's the furthest I've been out here in a while. But anyhow, that's not what this video is about, man. In this video, we are going to talk about what are some things you want to consider before getting into hotshot trucking. In this video, we're going to run through those things, kind of break them down just to let you guys know what are some things you want to consider before getting out here for hotshot trucking. So stay tuned. So currently, y'all, I'm actually en route on a load. We are currently in Oklahoma, getting ready to hit Kansas. We picked up this load. It's an M2 Freightliner, and this is going from San Angelo, Texas up to Iowa. I had a guy reach out to me that said he was gonna do this load, but he couldn't do it, unfortunately. He reached out and I said, yeah, man, I'll take care of it. I got the time. So that's what we're doing, man. Let me show you guys the load. I actually stopped and took a little nature break. One of the reasons why I love the road, man. I actually missed the road for these reasons right here, just to enjoy the road life. But yeah, this is the load right here. It's about 10,500 pounds. I went crazy, man. I went overkill on the securement, but we should be dropping this off on Monday. Today is Saturday. We left out Friday morning, and that's what we're doing, man. Just taking it slow. Alright, y'all, so let's get into this video, man. We are out here. We just pulled up, stopped for the day, somewhere in Kansas. We're about an hour and 45 minutes away from Omaha. So just shutting down for the night. Still pretty light out here. I gotta say, man, this is probably one of the nicest TAs that I've been to. Definitely a nice TA, man. It's common sense, number one, before you get into this. Maybe, maybe not, but I'm gonna start off with saying, and this may not be for everyone because not everyone has a partner, not everyone has a wife, a husband, or whatever the case is, but I feel like the first thing that a lot of people need to consider out here is, especially if you're starting out and you don't have any contacts, you don't have any relationships built, and you're gonna be working off of the low board, you definitely wanna make sure that your partner is gonna be okay with this and that you guys are on the same page getting into this business. If not, I'm telling y'all right now, it can cause a lot of strain on your relationship. It happened to me, man. When I first started this, I told the wife what I was gonna do. She supported it. However, she didn't fully understand it. And it was something that I just said, babe, I'm gonna do this. But we didn't realize the amount of strain that it took on our marriage. If you guys are like us and you guys enjoy the time and the company with your partner, it can be a lot. So I think the first thing in this is being on the same page with your partner as far as what you're going to be doing, where you're looking to take this, and why you're doing it. If you guys aren't on the same page, I know a lot of guys that have done this regardless of what their wife said, and I'm sure they've made it work, but you just have to realize that it takes a lot. It can take a toll because you're going to be out here on the road for weeks at a time, especially if you have kids, infants that you're gonna be leaving at home. A lot of guys come out here and they realize, man, I gotta get home for baseball or soccer or whatever the case is, and you end up missing some of those times with your young ones coming up because you end up having to be out here consistently for weeks at a time. So I think number one, before even deciding to get a truck, deciding to get a trailer and doing this, have that sit down and say, hey, this is the plan, this is how we're gonna work it together, and have that understanding, man, because like I said, it's a lot. It's not as what it seems like just watching a YouTube video and you're out here. Yeah, the money sounds good, the money is good, and it can be good, but that is not more important than your family. They gotta come first, and you have to consider that at first. So I'm gonna lead out with number one. If you guys agree with that, comment below in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Again, this is all subjective. This is just my experience. This is me going off of what I've been through and what I hear and what I speak to people about, whether it's consultations that we do, mentorships that we do. We hear this topic a lot being brought up where the wife or the husband, usually the wife And the kids, it's hard on them. A lot of times, us as men think that we're making most of the sacrifice, being out here, making things happen, getting to the money. But at the end of the day, we forget to think of what does that do for our people at home? How are they able to manage? That's also a sacrifice that they have to make with coming out here to do Hotshot trucking, or just trucking in general. So I think that's something that we gotta start thinking about before getting out here and doing this. A lot of guys may come out here, they don't have a wife, don't have a girl, don't have kids, and that's fine. This may not apply to you, but for the ones that do, this is something to think about. This is something to consider before you get out here into this business.
Me, it was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. It's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you, and now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job just how I should. It was always me versus me. It was never.
All right, y'all. Number 2. Are you capable of driving long hours? Because this requires a lot of driving. And again, unless you're getting into this and you have something already set up, a direct, a certain lane that's going to keep you local, fine. Regional, fine. But if you're planning OTR, are you physically capable of driving long hours at a time? You get 11 hours a day to drive. I know some people may drive more than that. However, are you really capable of driving these long hours? This is a lot of driving and it takes a lot of toll on your body. Can you do that? A lot of guys come out here and they think they can do it. And then they find themselves having to stop early, having to not driving out their clock. And then they start to wonder, why am I not making the money I need to make? It comes down to, are you able to drive long hours? We tell ourselves, yeah, we can do it, because again, we're thinking about the money. And a lot of people focus on that until they get out here and they realize, wow, this is a lot. Because you're consistently, my bad, cousin's calling me. Because you're consistently driving day in and day out while you're out here on the road to get to the money. Like, you can come out here, but if you're not going to drive, it's not going to make sense. And again, that's if you are OTR, which is over the road. So that's another question to ask yourself. Can you drive for long periods of time without a problem, without having to stop for multiple breaks, without having to stop for multiple restroom breaks, food, coffee, whatever the case is? You got to get out here and you have to grind, you have to push, you have to drive. That's just what it is. That's how you make the money in this industry. By driving. That's actually the main thing that you're out here doing, driving. Yeah, we're doing securing, we're unsecuring loads, but at the end of the day, that's a small fraction of what you're doing out here. The main thing that you do is drive. So if you aren't that person to drive, if you don't like driving, if you know you're not able to drive long periods at a time, don't do this. Again, only unless you're going to be staying local, regional, and you know the amount of miles that you can do a day, then fine. But if you're coming out here to do OTR, and typically a good driver is going to drive between 600 to 700 miles a day. Are you able to do that? If you are able to do that consistently, maybe this is for you. But if you have a problem with that, then this might not be for you. That's something definitely to consider, because that's the main thing you're doing out here. We're driving long hours, long periods. Pulling a trailer, pulling a load is not the same as just driving your vehicle. It's not the same. You've got a lot more work when you're handling a load behind you. You got a lot more things on your mind. You got a lot more weight on your shoulders when you're operating a commercial vehicle. You got so many things to think about while you're out here. That could be draining. That could be stressful. Those are some things that you're not able to cope with and you're not able to, manage. You got to drive. You got to drive. You got to drive. And that's how you make the money. Cannot come out here, say you want to do this and say you want to make the money, but then you're not driving out your clock and you're missing appointment times, whether you're picking up or dropping off. Like, that's not what this is. You got to be able to make these times. You got to be able to deliver. You got to be able to do what you say you're going to do. And especially if you're leasing onto a company. If you're leasing onto a company, you already know that the company that you lease onto is going to have requirements. They may require you to be out for 14 days at a time, 2-3 weeks at a time. You got to be able to do that and keep moving. You got to keep moving in order to make the money. Someone is not going to lease you on and you just being comfortable. Oh, I want to drive 6 hours today. Oh, I want to drive 3 hours. Oh, I want to drive. No. For it to make sense for a company that's leasing you on, they got to make money too. They're also taking a risk by you operating under their authority. Yeah, if you have your own authority, don't get it twisted. You can get comfortable and you may not feel like you may need to work as much or drive as much. I'll admit it, man. I've been comfortable. I've gotten comfortable before because we have our own authority, versus when I was leased on, I was out way more. But everyone's operation is different. Driving is not the only thing that we have established under our business. We have other things and other streams of income. So if you're that person that's coming out here solely to do trucking and just truck, you got to be able to drive, especially if you're starting out and you're trying to build your company. Because if not, it's going to be tough, it's going to be stressful, and you're going to end up wanting to say, why did I do this? And you've invested all this money. So think about those things, man. That's another thing to consider. Are you able to drive for long periods of time? God, bro, I just watched this truck, man. Top of the morning, just getting up out here, man. Just reached Sioux City, Iowa, getting ready to drop this truck and then start heading back down. But we're about to get into the next thing that I need y'all to consider before getting out here in the Hotshot trucking. We're gonna chop it up. I'm gonna set the camera down because I gotta get to work. I gotta get this thing unloaded ASAP. I'm gonna set it down. I'm gonna hook up my mic, so hopefully that works so I can walk around and work while I talk. Let's get to it, y'all. All right, fam, so I decided to put the mic back on, but I cannot tell. I don't believe the two-way is working. We're probably still on one side of your ear, so we're just gonna have to deal with that for now, man. So right now it's probably gonna be, like I said in the last video, in the left side. So there's no particular order, man, that this is gonna be in, as far as, you know, the things you need to consider. But common sense is gonna be one of those that you just gotta have. If you don't have common sense coming out here, then I don't know. There's the common sense to understand that what someone else's gross is not going to determine what you take home. A lot of people wants to know, oh, what did you net? What did you take home? What did you take home? Honestly speaking, that doesn't really matter to you, what I took home, because my expenses, my personal bills, everything is going to be different. You know, the insurance, everything's going to be different. So the question of what was your net? What was your net? Kind of irrelevant. That's common sense, man. That's common sense to know that your bills, your expenses are different than mine. Common sense is you know, understanding that you've picked up a load and there is a time frame that you need to get that load delivered. You know, it's common sense to know that you need to stop for fuel before you run out. You gotta have common sense out here, man. You gotta just have common sense in life, period. You feel me? But yeah, common sense is one of those things that you just gotta have, guys.